to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees regular meeting. It is Tuesday, June 14th at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, could we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning?
Present.
Mr. Honolo?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. And I ask that each of us stand and as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we have a special recognition of service. EMT firefighter Jeff Plackey, would you please step up? Chief, you'll have the floor.
Okay. All right. Jeff, this is an honor for me. We've known each other for a long time, and you have provided exemplary service to the community for over 44 years. That's a heck of a record, and that's something you can be proud of. It is an honor to recognize EMT firefighter Jeff Plackey for his 44 years of service to Springfield Township residents, business owners, and visitors. Jeff received his EMT and firefighter certifications while serving as a volunteer with the New Burlington Volunteer Fire Department from 1978 to 1996. On September 1, 1996, Jeff was one of the first part-time EMT firefighters hired by the Springfield Township to staff the newly formed Springfield Township Fire Department. During his 25 years and 9 months of part-time employment with the Springfield Township Fire Department, he worked an estimated 14,000 hours and made approximately 5,000 fire and EMS responses. Jeff's wife, Dorothy, and sons Joe and Nicholas also need to be recognized for their support of Jeff's passion for the fire service. Joe and Nicholas are following in Jeff's footsteps. They have 22 years of combined fire and EMS service and are actively engaged with local fire departments. Jeff's hobby is the preservation and restoration of antique fire trucks. He is active with the Salty Dog Fire Truck Museum and travels to community events to show the public antique fire trucks. He owns a 1916 Strider, Illinois fire truck, a 1924 Rio, formerly owned by the Mount Healthy Fire Department, and a 1948 pumper, formerly owned by the New Burlington Fire Department. Jeff, thank you. And to the Plackey family for your years of dedicated service and personal sacrifice to serve the residents of Springfield Township. Your leadership and contributions will be sincerely missed.
Jeff, thank you so much for your 44 years of service, and we, the Springfield Township Board of Trustees, would like to present you with this certificate of recognition, recognizing 44 years of service with the Springfield Township Fire Department. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Congratulations from high school.
Okay.
And Jill's here.
Okay, next we'd like to recognize our Hamilton County Treasurer, Ms. Jill Schiller. She wants to step up and address the board. Welcome to Springfield Township.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Honestly, the reason that we're coming out into the community is for a number of reasons. One, a lot of people don't know what the Treasurer's Office can do for them. And so if there's more than just collecting taxes, although that is the most important thing we do. And I don't set them, I just collect them. Speaking of, they're due twice a year, January 31st and coming up June 20th. So if you have any questions about that, please call our office. As you folks know, and as we want the citizens to know, real estate taxes are determined by two main factors, which is the valuation of your property and any tax levies that are passed by the residents of any given township. You do have the right to challenge your property value. The Board of Revision of Taxes meets regularly, and if you have a dispute over the valuation of your property, you are encouraged to go down there and have your case heard. There's actually a pretty good success rate too. So if you hear folks complaining about their valuation, please encourage them to go down and submit their proof and get a decision on that. We have many different ways to pay our property taxes, but we very much encourage people to pay online. It's easy, it's accessible right on our homepage, and it's $1 for each payment, multiple parcels included. You can mail a check. You can also get cash and come down to the office, and people really enjoy that, and I'm not sure why. So please, if that's the way you'd like to pay, please do. Pay in any way, but it's not the safest, and so we really encourage online payments, particularly in light of the rash of thefts we've had from blue mailboxes over the past few months. That has happened to a number of taxpayers where their checks have been stolen and washed. So the safest way to make your payment is online. We also have help to offer with delinquent taxes. If you are going to be delinquent, please let us know, and as soon as you are, we can connect you with legal aid and get you in a delinquency contract where you can make payments over the course of the next 2.5 years to bring you current with your taxes. We also have a lot of COVID-19 assistance. My office has been organizing community meetings over the past few months to help taxpayers get in direct contact with the agencies who can give them money. The money does no good if we don't get it into the pockets of people who need it, and these funds can be used for property taxes, mortgage, utilities, et cetera. So we'd like to spread the word about that. And the other program that we offer that's very helpful, particularly for folks who are delinquent, but truly for anybody, is our TOP program. It's the Treasurer's Optional Payment. This is a program where you can prepay your taxes in advance and do it monthly. So it helps folks on a budget, and it helps keep folks current. So these two things are really attractive, and we are trying to get as many people signed up for that as possible. We're also looking into offering ACH for that shortly, so that way you can kind of set it and forget it. And finally, this is not a treasurer's program, it's an auditor's program, but the homestead exemption is available for people 65 and older who make $32,000 or less. And I know for a fact that we don't have every senior who qualifies on this program. And so we're really hoping to get the word out into the community. If you know any seniors at all who might qualify, please do encourage them to sign up at the auditor's website. It does bring down their property taxes a bit, and every bit helps. Finally, I'd like to make myself available to our taxpayers personally. So my email address is jill.schiller@hamilton-co.org. And I encourage everybody to contact the office if you have any questions about dealing with the county. We can get you in touch with who you need to get in touch with. So,
Thank you.
I do have a question for you.
yes, sir.
How can I know there's been a lot of mailboxes that have been getting hit. How can a resident that mailed you a check make sure that the payment was received?
So it will be posted on the auditor's site as we go into reconciliation.
Okay.
And so they can check there, and obviously we also mail delinquent notices.
How long does it take?
I believe
Couple
we
weeks?
update within a couple of weeks. I don't have the exact,
Just ballpark, couple weeks?
yeah.
Okay, just
And
want to make sure.
should something happen, we do have to assess a penalty for late payments, but there's also a penalty remit application, so we.
I'm old, so I still mail checks, so that's why I asked.
You can mail them, put them in your own mailbox outside your door, or take them right to the post office. Just don't drop them in a box.
Right.
Great. right, thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. We have minutes for approval from the regular session on May 10th, 2022, and minutes from a regular work session on May 24th, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Burney, may we please have the financial report?
Yes, Ms. Davis. For the month ending May 31st, 2022, the township expenditures were $1,673,647.41. The receipts were $846,214.24. That gives us an ending cash balance of $28,066,032.48. This includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvements, and investments. What I request from the board is the approval of the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, update and current revenue and reports for the period ending May 31st, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. And I want everyone to know our financial reports are available for viewing at the administration offices during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Burney. Mr. Gilbert, would you please give us your report on departmental action and discussion items?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Davis. The first action item we have is regarding our county 20% funds. These are funds that are remitted back to the township through the county engineer's office. And typically, we use these funds each year for generally not necessarily resurfacing programs, but they're related to our infrastructure, and we use them for a variety of different purposes. Sometimes it's preservation projects regarding asphalt. This particular year, we're going to do something a little bit unique, and not probably unique in the sense of what maybe some jurisdictions use it for, but for Springfield Township in particular, it is unique. We're looking to utilize these funds to put toward our joint project with the Hamilton County Engineer's Office for the Galbraith Road Improvement project, which, as you know, is related to the Tri-Health development, the widening of that intersection, the improvement of that intersection, as well as the repaving of Galbraith Road from Cross County to Winton. So what this would do, in essence, it would lessen our local match with OPWC, which we were awarded some funding, several $100,000, actually over close to, what was it, Mike?
Close to 600,000.
Yeah, we were awarded close to $600,000 grant for that project. There is a match, a local match with that grant. Applying our 20% funds toward that project would essentially just lessen our local match that would come out of the general fund. So with that being said, Mike, I don't know if I explained that correctly, if there's anything additional you'd like to add.
No, you did a fantastic job.
The necessity in order to, I appreciate that, thank Mike. The necessity to do this now, prior to the road project actually being constructed, is some of the infrastructure work that has to be done road related work, which is the the sanitary sewer extension for Tri-Health. Unfortunately, we ran into some permitting issue with MSD that's going to require us to have the pipe in the ground prior to the project being completely underway and permitted through the county. Therefore, there was a necessity to an impetus to get this portion of the project done prior to the road construction happening. So hopefully that explanation makes sense. And if so, I guess we would just need a motion by the board to authorize the allocation of the 20% funds toward that Galbraith Road project.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a Art Council Board position appointment of Lori Resnick. Terrible at pronouncing names. This is a position that was vacated when Karen Dills had retired, and Lori is our new full-time employee that actually replaced Karen, so it makes sense to let her also replace Karen's position on the Arts Council. Kim, I don't know if you have anything further to add, but that's pretty much it.
No, just that the Board of Trustees appoints 4 positions, and the Arts Council appoints 3 that are community representatives. And that's just how our nonprofit has been structured.
So with that being said, I would entertain a motion to appoint Lori to the Arts Council.
So move.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I would read you the personnel update. However, I'm having some malfunctions with my director point here and not able to pull up any files, so I'm not sure what's happening. Yes.
Here.
In the fire department, we had the retirement of Jeff Plackey. Obviously, we just recognize him for his more than 40 years of service, which is pretty incredible. Then we had the new hire of Raul. See, why do you guys do this to me with these names? Takyute?
That's pretty close, yeah.
You'll have to,
You did good.
you'll have to start putting the pronunciations on there.
I'm gonna have to start giving them nicknames. So we had the new hire of RT, part-time medic, starting June 1st, obviously this year. We had the promotion of Sam Steigerwald from a part-time medic to an 1820 paramedic firefighter. We had the retirement in the police department of Chris Williams. How long was Chris Williams with us?
Over 22 years.
Over 22 years. So we had the retirement of Chris Williams in the police department, and then the public works department, we had the new hire of Matthew Gold as a seasonal laborer, Ben Peterson, seasonal laborer, Kyle Bill, seasonal laborer, and in the Arts Center, we had the promotion of, I guess technically it's a promotion because she was part-time prior, seasonal part-time, right? Lori?
Yeah, she was, seasonal.
Yeah, so she moved into that full-time position of event coordinator, which we spoke about before. So we're glad to have Lori on board and be able to seamlessly continue operations in the absence.
Lori or Laurie?
Lori.
I think we've learned by this meeting not to ask me.
Well, it's spelled 2 different ways, isn't it?
Yeah,
The agenda is not correct.
okay.
It's LOR.
It's Laurie.
So Laurie.
Laura, okay.
Laura wondered.
It would be Lori.
So with that being said, that concludes the personnel update. Now I'm going to turn over to Kim for community events and programs, of which there are many.
There are many. This Friday on June 17th is our Beers and Gears event. That's a car show with a concert. On Friday, June 24th is our annual Touch a Truck event. And then moving into July 8th, we have a new event called Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. And then July 29th is a smaller concert called Pups in the Park. And it'll be a small concert on the back deck with vendors selling items for dogs.
Thank you, Kim. I will say that the 2 events that you've had so far, at least that I remember in the last month or so, were well attended and well received, that being the Artisan Fair, as well as the Mad Cat Puppets that you just had here last week. I think if you needed any evidence that Arts Connect is important to this community, just come to these events. Because with the resources that we have to put on these events, and I say we, I mean Kim, she does all the heavy lifting here. So with the resources she has to put on these events and the return of on investment, if you can quantify such a thing for these events, is off the charts. So kudos to Kim and her staff and their creativity and the resourcefulness they have in putting on these events with very limited resources. And obviously we have a beautiful arts center, but just in terms of staffing and funding for these events, they do a phenomenal job. And I think the community really respects that, and they show that by attending these events. And I think it's only going to get better from here because I see attendance growing continuously. So.
Kim?
I'd just like to say, we've gotten a lot of support from the departments. We had the police chief doing crafts last Friday.
What?
And our,
You?
public, and our public works department.
You said the police chief?
I was in a bind. I made a
Fire chief, you mean?
Fire chief.
Fire chief, I'm so sorry. I was right at him.
Rick's turning red over there and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I was like, whoa,
I'm so sorry.
what was I?
Rick's all red and he didn't do anything.
It totally makes sense to me now. Prior, I thought I was in a parallel universe or something.
Gotta step it up.
So Kim, I do have a question. How many is the most campers that we can take in a specific week?
20.
Huh?
20 kids in a week.
Okay.
So we have 8 weeks, 20 kids.
And you are sold out.
Yeah, it's been sold out for a while. And the reason why we can only do 20 is because a lot of our programming is indoors, and that's the room that we have downstairs. That's the space that we have downstairs. I think we'd probably be able to fill it triple that if we could, but that's our limitations, and it's a good, comfortable crowd for us.
Yeah.
They get a really good quality experience.
Kim, what time is the Beers and Gears this
7 to
Friday?
10.
7 to 10.
7 to 10.
It's on my calendar. It's on my calendar.
And Kim, you know, I'm just such a fan of all the hard work that you do and all the great events that you put on back there. And unfortunately, the Artisan Fair, the storms caused it to end a little bit early, but just in talking with residents and people who attended the Artisan Fair, people really, really, really enjoyed that. I know that was the first time that you've put on an event like that, but folks are really looking forward to it next year. So congratulations and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you for volunteering for almost every single event.
Oh, I love doing it. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
Obviously, the board has copies of the departmental activity reports, and before we close this out, I do want to say, as we're still on the topic of the events, that the behind-the-scenes, unsung heroes of the events are the Public Works Department.
Yes.
Without staff in the Public Works Department volunteering for those events, working overtime to make those events happen, they wouldn't be possible, and they are sort of the people that make it happen that you don't see, and I do want to extend gratitude to them. And you know, obviously they do a lot, as evidenced by the last 2 days, which we'll talk about here in a second. But they make those events happen, so we do very much appreciate them volunteering for those events, to work overtime on weekends away from their families to make those events happen. With that being said, every department obviously deserves kudos for yesterday and today. The response, as we've done in many other storms, is nothing short of amazing to me. As soon as I put out a text message last night regarding the storms, I reached out to, obviously, Rick and Rob and Mike, and it was minutes after the storm passed through the township, and I got a response back that Rob was already in station, setting up sort of an incident command. Mike was already en route back into the township. Rick was obviously in communication with everyone on his staff, and they worked seamlessly to make sure that not minutes after that storm was passed through the township, they were already out assessing storm damage. Crews were already out securing dangerous areas, removing trees out of the roadway. And then today, in the 100-degree heat with the humidity that we have, Public Works crew is out again today, picking up brush out of people's yards, out of the street, and it's the dedication that this staff has to this community is something that you don't find in a lot of local governments, and I'm grateful to be able to work with professionals like this and people that are so dedicated to what they do. So,
And I think all of them, I mean, people don't really realize, because if it didn't happen in their neighborhood,
Right.
but there was power lines down, which was dangerous, that the police department got there to stop people from, hurting themselves, the fire department trying to get the lines out of the middle of the road, the service department trying to clear trees and everything. I mean, last night was a fire drill, so it was, you guys were all on it just like that and did a great job. Thank you. I know my street was blocked off for 3 hours.
and what's the response is one thing. It's the willingness to work together and communicate that really makes it as efficient as it is. And a lot of communities don't have that. They operate in silos. We don't do that. Our employees look at it as we're township first, regardless of what department we work for. I mean, for Christ's sake, we had one of our captains in our fire department out chipping brush, putting brush in a chipper. So it doesn't matter what their job description is. If there's a job that needs to be done to provide services to the community, regardless of who the employee is, they're going to do it. And that's what makes this a great place to work, and hopefully residents feel like it's a great place to live as a result as well. So thank you to all you guys for everything you do.
Couldn't have said it any
Thank
better.
you.
Ditto. Thank you, thank you.
With that being said, that does conclude my activity report, unless there are any questions of the board.
Thank you, Mr.
Questions?
Gilbert. No questions. So we have a few resolutions on the agendas this evening. The first resolution for consideration is Resolution Number 44-2022, supplemental appropriations within the General Fund, Gasoline Tax Fund, Road and Bridge Fund, Drug Law Enforcement Fund, and appropriation adjustment within the State Law Enforcement Fines Grant a Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 45-2022, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the Police Department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 46-2022, declaring motor vehicles located on public or private property in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to be junk motor vehicles pursuant to R.C.505.173, and ordering the removal of such vehicles pursuant to Resolution Number 80-2012 and R.C.505.871. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 47-2022, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 48-2022, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 49-2022, authorizing the filing of an application pursuant to R.C.2981.12 and R.C.3719.11 to authorize the destruction of property in the possession of the Springfield Township Police Department that has been unclaimed, lost, abandoned, stolen, forfeited, or otherwise lawfully seized. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is Resolution Number 50-2022, a resolution authorizing Christy Dukes Davis, Chairperson of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Transit Infrastructure Program and to execute contracts as required for the Brentwood Rehabilitation Project. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And finally, Resolution Number 51-22, a resolution authorizing Christy Dukes Davis, Chairperson of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Transit Infrastructure Program and to execute contracts as required for the Galbraith Road Widening Project. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have old business. Is there any old business before the board, Mr. Honalaw?
I do not.
I do not.
Is there any new business before the board?
Not this evening.
Thank you. Now we come to our citizen participation portion of our agenda. Is there anyone in attendance in the audience that would like to address the board? If so, I ask you to step up and to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Michael McCoy. My address is 8950 Fountainblue Terrace. First of all, I'd like to just piggyback on Mr. Gilbert, what he said about the cleanup. I heard about 8 o'clock this morning, your people were out there cleaning up, chucking up the wood and all that kind of stuff, because it was pretty bad on Fountainblue last night. And you guys did an excellent job when I came out. All the debris from the school down to the corner, I mean, it was literally gone, and it was really a bad night last night. So you guys did a real good job there. My next thing is, I had a couple of my neighbors come over and say, well, Mike, if you're going to the township meeting, could you ask about, are they completed with the curb work on the blacktop that has been completed? So they're wondering about, is there going to be anything done with the curbs that are still kind of open, about this much space on both sides going down? And as you go into people's driveway, a lot of that concrete was chipped up, broken up by the work that was done. So I told them that I would bring that to the board's attention when I come to the meeting today.
Mike, I don't know if you want to respond to that.
First of all, I'll apologize. There was a letter that went out and was distributed to all property owners within the project area. Apparently, you did not get it. In that letter, it kind of set the phases for the project. The phase that was just completed was what's called the leveling course for asphalt. And then later this month, probably within the next 2 weeks on Fountainblue specifically, you'll see another crew come through and start saw cutting the asphalt. That'll allow for excavation of new curb, adjustments of driveway aprons, new storm sewer, and all those type of things that you see typically like on Hempstead. You're probably familiar with the way Hempstead looks. And then finally, there will be a surface course of asphalt applied on top of everything, which will complete the project. Our goal, and what I'm pushing them very hard, is to have Fountainblue, Peachtree, and Peach Blossom completed prior to the start of school, which I believe is the September 8th, the day after Labor Day. So completion by no later than Labor Day. So if you want to share that message with your neighbors, if they have additional questions, you can grab my card or you can get my contact information, and they're more than welcome to call me.
Okay, great. And the next thing I have on Fountainblue, now that the road is real nice and smooth, we just got speeders up and down the street all day long. So that may be something that your officers, Rick, may want to check out, because one day some kid is going to get hit, because now that the street is nice and smooth, like I said, they're just up and down the street, is, you know, and I'm assuming they're young kids. I don't know, but you can just hear the screeching of the tires and the speed that they're doing. And one other thing, I don't know, I couldn't find it when I went online about trash removal. I have a neighbor at 8942. It's been an old refrigerator with doors on it, been sitting there for 5 months now. Now, I'm just wondering.
Is it sitting where?
Outside of the door as you go into entrance of the home. It's sitting. Your people have came and took pictures of it, because the people living there hadn't had their trash picked up in 3 weeks. The house is owned by somebody in Florida. They got a bunch of Hispanics living there, but this group of Hispanics are not as nice as the last group of Hispanics.
If we came out and took pictures of it, that means it's in the process, and it probably will be removed here soon.
Okay, because it's been there, like I say, for the last 6 months, and I would hate to see a kid playing around there and get shut up inside of there. And they also took pictures of the trash that was there. They wouldn't take the trash away from the curb. I called the township. They was telling me, well, there's nothing we can do about the trash can sitting at the curb. I said, well, there's trash inside of it. And that sat there for 3 weeks like that. So I explained it to the homeowner when I got a hold of him in Florida, what was going on. And he didn't want to see eye to eye that this is not happening. So I got a bunch of pictures on my phone and that sort of thing to prove that, you know, I'm telling the truth. But it's been a problem at 8942 because of the influx with the 15 or so Hispanics living there. All they do is go to work, come home. But this group here is a different group.
Well, if we're out on property, that means it's very close to being cleaned up.
One thing I will add is, where did you say the refrigerator is located?
As you get ready to go inside the house, it's right on the patio.
Okay,
Sitting right on the front. I got pictures on my phone right now.
Yeah, I see it from the case. The issue that could be is that the crew that's coming out and doing the inspection and performing the cleanup or what have you, is they look at that and they think that the house is occupied. And with that refrigerator being under the carport and its location, if that house is occupied, we can't take that. Those are items that we simply can't take under our nuisance regulations. We can cut the grass, we can clean up the trash, all those things, but that refrigerator wouldn't be deemed junk or something that would be a nuisance related. So, you know, I understand
but
it's a hazard.
it
but-
could be a property maintenance code
But
violation, which
the
we'll have to
deal is,
explore.
If it's not junk, it's not being used, because I've been living here now for almost 20 years, and I see this, and it's not being used. It's trash.
Yeah,
But
and-
if a kid gets inside of there,
Yeah.
then we got another problem.
I couldn't agree with you. What I'm trying to do is provide you a response as to why the crew hasn't taken further action at this point. Now that you've made us aware of it, we can take further look at it, and we can see if the property is occupied, and then we can look at our actions to see what we can do moving
Yeah,
forward.
it's clearly occupied. I think the question is going to be whether or not we can classify the appliance as junk and debris as it's defined under Ohio law. So the point is, we were aware of it before, we're more acutely aware of it now and your concerns. So we will explore that and make sure that while we agree with you in terms of it probably doesn't need to be there, it's what can we do under the law? And that's what we're going to have to explore a little further. Sometimes it's difficult when things are under carports because the way the law looks at a carport, as much sense as it may not make to you and I, is that they look at it as no differently than being inside of your garage. So, which we can't go in people's garage and take stuff. So we're going to have to explore it a little further as it relates to the law and our ability to remove it. But thank you for bringing it up to us again, and we'll talk about it and see
But
what we
he
can do.
said under the carport, if you look at the picture, it's not under the carport.
Okay.
It's sitting out. The carport is back behind and it's sitting out.
Is it? Okay.
And the owner that used to live there and sold the house, it was their refrigerator at the time.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm thinking that the owner, he doesn't
Okay.
really care. He's not from here.
Right.
And they're not using it to store food or beverages in or anything like that. It's just that he's getting his money.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what it looks like.
Sure.
That furniture, that's not patio furniture, but if they want to sit on that kind of stuff, that was Jeff's furniture
Yeah.
when he moved out. And it's just-
We'll reach out to the property owner and
It's
we'll-
LLC or something like
yeah,
that. He's
we'll find him. We'll make it abundantly clear that we want it removed. And
Probably a case where they don't want to pay to have it removed.
that's probably it.
Yeah, and like I told him, he didn't believe me, and I sent him pictures, and he was like, well, okay. I said, okay, I'll just bring it up at trustee meeting, but I don't want to,
Mike, we'll look into it. We'll see what we can.
okay.
I'm confident we'll be able to figure out a way to get.
Okay, I appreciate it. And before I get out of here, because I know Chief Leininger has a birthday party to go to, I just want to thank him and Rick for the quick response. That I had some issues with my wife, and their team was real quick in response to getting there and getting her to the hospital and that sort of thing. So I just want to thank you, Rick, for your crew for the job that they did. It was well done. Wife is getting a little better, but she's got a long way to go, and I just appreciate both of you guys. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you.
Like any time. Give your wife our best.
I will do. Thanks, guys. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Really, you are. Thank you for
Thank
listening.
Thank you, thank you.
Mike.
Is there any other business before the board? No. There's no other business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the
Yep.
regular.
I'm sorry, Ms. Davis, I apologize, I almost forgot. We do need an executive session tonight, so I would ask that we adjourn into executive session to discuss the employment of a public employee involving potential discipline.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
I think that's a roll call, isn't it?
Oh, roll
All
call.
right.
Roll
Mr.
call.
Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honlaw?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
We're in executive session.
And then we will have to come back out to close the meeting.
Yes.